Hey babes, welcome to another episode of the It Girl Era podcast. I am so excited to be recording. Today's episode is going to be about red flags during dating. So I wore this red shirt to be in theme. But yeah, I feel like when we are dating, like if you haven't had certain experiences, you don't really know like what to look for, and you don't realize the red flags until it's too late. So I just want to help you guys see like the warning signs before it's too late, until before you've invested all your time and energy into this relationship that is draining you. So the first thing I want to say when we are discussing dating and red flags and all that stuff is like, I want you to be very clear with what you bring to the table, and I want you to know that you are the prize. And yeah, I want you to be proud of who you are and not try to change yourself for anyone. With that being said, I also want you to only date people who are at or above your level. So when I say that, I mean that in terms of like life circumstances. So I have a car and I'm an entrepreneur and I go to the gym. So I wouldn't date someone who doesn't have a car, or who doesn't work out, or who doesn't have a job. So yeah, I feel like that's very important, because yeah, I feel like dating somebody who's below like your bracket can lead to like jealousy and like resentment, and like yeah, you guys won't be able to, I feel like you won't be able to connect because you don't have that similar experience. So it's hard for you guys to relate to each other. So yeah, that's my first piece of advice. Also, I want you to have like a list of non-negotiables that you want in your partner based off of like your own personal experience of what you like your type and things like that. So I want you to write like or you don't necessarily have to write them, but just you need to know them. And then also you can have like a nice to have section. So it's like if they don't have it, it's fine. Like you would still go out on a date with them. But if they don't have your non-negotiables, then you wouldn't be going on a date with them, because that would just be a waste of your time. Because mind you, I'm in a happy, healthy relationship, so I haven't had to think about my non-negotiables in a while. But when I was thinking about it, like they're very much so respect, loyalty, patience, and understanding. They're more like, yeah, like more so passion, like they're more intangible things, like things you can't see. And then like nice to haves, when I was thinking about it, would probably be like just like the only thing I could think of was like being taller than like having a certain height requirement. Now, a non-negotiable for me is like being taller than me, because I like to feel safe and protected. But yeah, I think like a nice to have would be like, oh, they gotta be taller than 6'1" or whatever. Yeah, I invite you to create a list of things that have to be present within that person in order for you to pursue a relationship with them. And this can be like certain personality traits and like certain things that make you feel loved. Yeah, whatever that may be, that makes you feel like your needs are met. those would be your non-negotiables. So here is the first red flag. This is a big one, and you have to pay attention to this. All talk, no action. So he just like, yeah, babe, because I'm going to take you out here and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And he ain't did none of it. Red flag. You're done, sir. Yeah, or if you like, say you ask him to do something or you ask him to be there for you. And this can go for any gender, but I'm going to use guys because that's what I do. If you ask him to be there for you, to do something for you, and he can't do it, like majority of the time he's giving you excuses and he's not finding a way to do it for you, red flag. Yeah, like your word is so important, and it's like, especially if you are there for other people, and it's like, especially if like your words match your actions, you require somebody who does the same. So if he just giving you a lot of lip service and not backing nothing up, I would say on to the next. Okay, this might be controversial, and this is for me personally. I think like older men, like a decade, if the age gap is a decade, I think that's a red flag, because from my experience, what I've heard from like my mom and my granny and my TT, they have just said like some older men, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them want to control you, and that's how you kind of end up in like a kind of abusive like relationship, because they know that you are less experienced than them and they can use that to their advantage. It's like, why aren't they dating someone their own age? Like something might be wrong with that. Like that's a red flag. But use this as at your own discretion. I would just say if it doesn't feel right to you, then don't do it. But I know that when a man comes up to me and they're like super old, like if they're like, because I'm 22, so my limit is weird though. I'm probably not gonna date someone older than 25. Mind you, I'm in a happy, healthy relationship, so these are things that I don't think about and don't really consider. But if I were to consider it, my limit would be like 24, because at 25, like your frontal lobe develops, and so that's a whole different ball game. So I try to stay within like my same mindset, like my same age range. That has worked well for me. Like, I don't think I like younger guys either. Like I said, use this at your own discretion, but for me, my limit would be 22 to 24. That's it. That's all. But yeah, you do you. But I will say that older men, like a decade above you, I would say red flag. Okay, moving on. This one's crazy. The boys who don't like women, and you're like, what are you talking about? They're referred to women as the B word. They go out their way to talk about how they dislike women, and they are mean to women. They leave like mean comments. Yeah, they have a lot of negative opinions about women, and they rarely voice their positive opinions. So this guy, mind you, we met at the gym, like we're texting on Instagram, and I'm like, yeah, like what kind of music do you like? And he's like, oh yeah, like J. Cole, somebody else. And then he's like, yeah, but I hate female rappers, like Sexy Red. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, sir, I never asked you what music you don't like, because that's not even helpful to me. But it was like, why would you go out of your way to say that you don't like female rappers? That's weird. And then he was also, when he was like trying to give me compliments at the gym, mind you, I was taking this with a grain of salt. I was single and bored. And this was after I had gave him my Instagram. Yeah, he was complimenting me after that. And he was like, yeah, because I like how you do your hair natural, because these other girls, these other B words, be out here getting weave and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? You sound like a hater, for real. Like, no. And it's like, why are we discussing other women? If you're talking about me, like, what other women need to get brought up, like, in a positive way or a negative way? Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, that was the first time that I encountered that, and that was so crazy. Like, I think that's the sassy man apocalypse, and I had never been a victim of it before. But yeah, that was crazy to me. Watch out for those boys. I feel like usually they don't really have a good relationship with their moms, and so I think that's why they like take it out on other women. That's just me though. That's just what I observe. I don't know. And then the next red flag is like the guys who are like, oh, like, just leave me like everybody else does. Like, sir, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, he plays the victim in everything. Red flag, because you can't take accountability. So it's like, whenever I do anything, you're just gonna try to use it against me and just be like, oh, like, everyone just leaves me, everyone hurts me, everyone does this to me. Like, grow up and stop being a victim. Like, let's have a real conversation about what actually happened, and not like, because usually these guys are like the one that's like, yeah, because I got hurt in the 2nd grade by my little girlfriend, and now I don't trust these hoes. Sir, what? That's insane. Yeah. So I would say a red flag. Then this is kind of niche, so I don't know. And I think this only pertains to black guys, or like guys who use like black lingo. But when they say, I just be chilling, please run away. That man do not be chilling. That man be out here doing a lot. That man is sneaky. That man is sneaky. That's what it is. He don't be chilling. He be on the sneak, slithering and sliding like a snake. In my experience. That's my experience. So, yeah. Like, it's one thing for a man to be like, I'm a homebody. Like, I don't really go out like that. Like, that's cool. Right up my alley. But when you talking about, I just be chilling, like that specific phrase, because usually a lie. Okay. Next red flag. Yeah, when they're just like ignoring you and you are having to repeat yourself a whole bunch. It's like, bro, are you listening? Do you care? Do you even care? And I think that's like a respect thing. Like, active listening is just respect. Yeah, or let's say you are in a relationship and then like you keep having to be like, oh, I don't like when you do this, but it's the same thing over and over again. It's like that person isn't gonna change. And especially like you explain, like, it makes me feel like this when you do this, and I would appreciate it if you don't. Like, especially if you communicated effectively and they're still not changing their behavior, then that's a red flag. Another red flag, I would say, is if he doesn't take initiative to like plan things. I think that's a red flag. So let's say this guy wants to take you out on a date and he's like, oh, but yeah, like, when are we going on our date? Sir, you're supposed to plan our date. Like, you're supposed to figure out like what we're gonna do. And it's like, if he's just asking like what you like, I think that's cool. But if he's like trying to get you to basically plan the whole thing, I feel like that's a red flag, and that's like foreshadowing of what will happen if you end up in a relationship with them. Like, you'll just be waiting around for them to plan a date, and they won't, because they're waiting on you to do it. Yeah, okay, maybe this might be controversial, but I'm gonna say it. I think that if they're on the game too much with their friends, like with the whole like headset and stuff, like in the party, and they're not like talking to you and spending time with you, and this is happening like every night, like I feel like that's OD. I feel like that's too much. It's like, do you even like me? Do you like your boys more than me at this point? So I would say that's a red flag for me. Another red flag to me would be like if they're being too sexual early on. So let's say you guys literally just started talking and he's already like, yeah, because I'm gonna bend you over and whatnot. Sir, relax, like calm down. Like, it's giving you only want me for my body, or you only want to fuck me. Like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Now, if that's what you're looking for, cool, that's what you're gonna get. Like, y'all gonna be friends with benefits, but it's not giving a healthy relationship. Yeah, I feel like just like when you first start dating, like certain boundaries need to be in place so that your relationship can thrive in the future. And I think that that's one of them, because I'm not opposed to passion and whatnot after we're together, but before we're together, let's slow down. And I think it's just like a respect thing. And I think like if he's more like, oh, like, are you, like if he's more like asking if you're ready to talk about things like that and you feel ready, I think go for it. But until you have like had a conversation about it, I think that we need to not be doing that. And if that is happening, let him know and communicate effectively. Like, I don't like that. That make me feel like you only want to use me for my body, and I'm not messing with it. And if he's still doing it after that, done for. He gotta go. Yeah, and then have you ever came across like a guy who didn't like himself, who like talked badly about himself and was like borderline depressed? Like, yeah, I feel like it's impossible for him to like you if he doesn't like himself. I feel like there are like niche things where this works. Like there's some like romance books where that works, but this is real life. So I would say leave him alone. Suggest he go to therapy and start to love himself before he pursues a relationship. That's what I would say. Yeah, that sad boy trope, I wouldn't go for it, personally. Yeah, I guess this can be the last one. I created a list on my phone, which is what I've been looking at. And yeah, these are all the ones that I could come up with. Like I said, I haven't been like in a dating game for a while now, so I don't really think about red flags, because I'm in a happy relationship and I just focus on making that relationship better. So the last one would be if he is emotionally unavailable and he doesn't know how to communicate his emotions and feelings, and he like pushes you away. Because you're gonna be working harder, not smarter, and it's like that's when it gets draining, because it's like you just want him to be happy, like you want to love him, but he's not allowing you to. Yeah, it's just creating more work for yourself, and I feel like it's very unnecessary. And I know like when you're in a relationship, it can be harder. He's showing signs of emotional unavailability prior to you establishing establishing that you guys are in a relationship, I feel like it's best to nip that in the bud sooner rather than later, because it's not saying that he can't learn or he can't change, but it's tiring and it's draining to be with somebody who can't self-regulate and can't process their emotions, like, and they just carry everything with them. It's not fun. It's like babysitting, because it's like they're acting like a child, because children don't know how to do that. Children don't know how to communicate their emotions effectively, like babies. Like, they just cry, like they don't know. They can't say anything. So it's like dating a baby. Don't date a baby. Yeah, but, and then there are just like a couple of things that I want to mention that aren't necessarily red flags, but like they could be worked on. So let's say if he doesn't give compliments, I would say just communicate that you enjoy compliments and they make you feel good, and you would appreciate it if he starts giving you compliments. But that could be, if that's a non-negotiable for you, then that would be a red flag. But if like words of affirmation aren't really your love language, then that might not apply to you. And then another thing I can think of is like if he doesn't open your door. This was something that I had to like teach myself, because I was very much in the independent era. I'm like, I can do everything myself, and I wouldn't allow guys to open the door for me. Like, I wouldn't wait for them to do it. I would just do it. And so I think that if you give him the space to open your door, like when there's a door coming up, stop right before you get to the door and like move out the way so that he'll open the door. But if it's just not clicking for him, then I would definitely communicate to him and be like, this is what a gentleman does. Gentlemen open doors. And as a lady, I shouldn't be touching a door. But yeah, like I said before, if that's something that's a non-negotiable for you and it's just like not in him and you communicate it effectively, like, then it's a no. I don't know though, guys. What do you think about that? Do you think that that's is that a non-negotiable for him to open your door? Because it might just be a red flag if he don't open doors. But maybe it's like, maybe he wasn't raised like that, so that's why I'm like, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Oh, guys, yeah, like the man who's like, oh, you're not wearing that. What? You're not my father. You're my man. Like, yeah, I feel like that's a sign of being too controlling, and I feel like control leads to abuse. So that is why I say that is definitely a red flag. Like, you want somebody who's going to appreciate the way you dress and, encourage you to dress in a way that flatters your body. That's how I see it. Let me just reiterate that I think it's a good practice while you're dating to not lower your standards. It's a good practice to keep your standards high and make sure you're not settling. Because when I date, I'm dating to marry. I'm not dating for like with the intentions of having a year-long relationship, So it's like, with that in mind, think of what you want your husband to be like. And if this guy isn't showing you that he's your husband material, I would say on to the next. That's how I think about it, because you're in it for the long term. And that's just me. Like, if you want to date just to date and be cute, I don't know. I don't know what other people do, but yeah. If you just want to for shits and giggles, then don't think about the long term or your husband. Don't. Just do what you want to do. But for the lover girls, I would say, yeah, make that list of what you want your husband to be like and don't date outside of those parameters. Yeah, and you are so wonderful. You are so beautiful inside and out. You deserve a love that is unconditional, beautiful, and fairy tale worthy, and you can have that. Also, I want to advise you to not be the one who not value appearance over personality or personality over appearance. I feel like they're both very important when we're talking about life partners, because it's like this is the person that you want to have intercourse with for the rest of your life. So I think it's very important that they have the personality that meshes with yours and they have the appearance that you like, because like if you don't want your kids to look like them, then why are you dating them? Ugh. Also, don't be out here looking for somebody to complete you, because you are whole and complete on your own. You are that girl. You are the prize. Period. Okay. That's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching. Comment below. Give it a like. Do subscribes on YouTube. And rate the podcast 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. And do a cartwheel too, just for fun. I'm just kidding. But yes, I hope you have the best week, and I love you, and bye.